To further support that the U.S. should not adopt a constitutional amendment to prevent abortion, I will discuss that by stating not all religions are against abortion, and modern feminist groups are pro-choice, and there are mild complications to the mother due to abortion. First off, in Judaism, they have the halakha, which is the Jewish law, and it does not define that a fetus is a nephesh, which is a person, and it says a baby becomes a full-fledged human being when the head emerges from the womb. Before then, a fetus is considered partial life. Also, the Babylon Talmud, Yevamot 69b, the embryo is considered to be mere water until the 40th day, and after that it's also considered subhuman, so it is not technically a human until it is born. Unitarian churches believe that the right of every woman to safe and affordable abortion, they should be allowed to be able to get one. And the federal funded abortion counseling and abortion provision has called for the government protection for the women that get abortion, and they should be provided to them. It was stated that abortions are okay to be permitted to save a mother's life, but with the exception of some Orthodox authorities, Judaism do support all access to abortions. According to the Rashi, the great 12th century commentator on the Bible and the Talmud, states clearly that a fetus is not a person. Therefore, all religions do not believe that abortion is bad and that it is not considered a killing of a human. Some churches do not necessarily condone abortions, but they do think that they should be legal. For instance, a Presbyterian church acknowledged that the state has at least a limited interest in regulating abortion, but believes it should be available and affordable for women to get. Not everyone has full religious beliefs, and so it is wrong and criticizes women to say that it is against their religion. Just because a person is religious doesn't mean they follow all aspects of their religion. Religion should not be generalized, the population, and basically saying that all people need to follow the same pattern. There are laws already in place that prevent abortion from being considered murder. It is legal to have an abortion after the first trimester because the fetus is taking shape. All people have the right to do what they want with their body, and just because people are religious does not mean that their acts are wrong. 43% of the women obtaining abortions identify themselves as Protestant, and 27% identify themselves as Catholic. So to say that people who are religious believe that murder is wrong is not true, because that is a significant amount of people getting abortions. Also, Ellie stated that in early feminist times they were pro-life, but now modern feminists are working on acts to keep abortion legal. They work with one state at a time, and it started in Mississippi. There are now activists that successfully stopped an immediate ban on abortion by working with legislators to raise awareness about devastating impact it would have on the women of Mississippi if they took away abortion. Larry Ladder suggested to the NOW leadership that all feminist demands equal education and jobs pay hinge on a woman's ability to control her own body and procreation. Ladder convinced the NOW leadership that legalized abortion was the key to the workplace. Ladder and Nathanson's strategy was highly effective, and the NOW organization has made the preservation of legal abortion its #1 priority. Its literature repeatedly states that access to abortion is the most fundamental right of women. Without each, all rights are meaningless. There is a highly visible faction of the women's movement abandoned the vision of early feminists. They now have a view where women should be accepted and respected. There are 1.3 million surgical abortions per year in the U.S. The Alan Guttmacher Institute reports that women have abortions for two primary reasons: lack of financial resources and lack of emotional support. Now also affirms that reproductive rights are issues of life and death for women, not mere matters of choice. Now fully supports the access to safe and legal abortion, to effective birth control and emergency contraceptives, to reproductive health services and education for all women. We oppose the attempts to restrict these rights through the legislation and regulation of the constitutional amendment. Also, Ellie stated that abortions are a risk factor for the mother, and that is not necessarily true. The risk of abortion complications is minimal, and there is fewer than 3% of abortion patients experience a complication that requires hospitalization. In repeated studies since the early 1980s, leading experts have concluded that abortions does not pose a hazard to the woman's mental health, and abortions performed in the first trimester pose virtually no long-term risk of such problems as infertility, defect, and little to no risk of prevention or low birth weight deliveries. In conclusion, we should not ban abortions in the U.S.